This is the Thriving Dentist Show with Gary Takis, where we help you develop your ideal dental practice, one that provides personal, professional, and financial satisfaction.
Welcome to another episode of the Thriving Dentist Show. I'm Gary Takis, your podcast co-host. We have a very cool episode for you today. It's titled, The 6 Biggest Dental Practice Website Mistakes. Well, if you're interested in enhancing your website, then this is the perfect episode for you. We're going to get in the weeds with you on this one about how to avoid these mistakes and have your website perform even better than it does now. Before we get to that episode, though, 2 quick announcements to make. Coming up about a month after the publication of this episode, we have our next Thriving Dentist Masterclass. It's coming up on August 23rd, and it is titled Mastering Dental Marketing in 2023 and Beyond. This has proven to be a very popular masterclass. And of course, because the whole dynamic of websites is constantly evolving, we have lots of new information for you about mastering dental marketing in 2023 and beyond. It's a 3-hour class, one evening, 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern time, and I will literally go through soup to nuts about how to master dental marketing and attract not only the right number of new patients every month for your practice, but the right quality of new patients every month for your practice at an ever-reduced cost. We want to show you how to do this in a very cost-effective manner in terms of how to master marketing in a very cost-effective manner. Hey, come join us for that masterclass. It is done in a live stream format, meaning that you can attend from the convenience and comfort of your home or office. No travel inconvenience or expense. However, it's done live, so you can ask me questions. That's August 23rd, 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern time. If you'd like to register, go to thrivingdentist.com/masterclass, and you'll have all the information you need. It's very inexpensive. Tuition is less than $90. You'll receive 3 hours of CE credits, and not only receive 3 hours of CE credits, but learn about what you need to do to master dental marketing to attract the right number of new patients every month and the right quality of new patients as well. Hope to see you there. The second announcement that I have is we have a returning guest, Dr. Avi Patel. He's a practicing dentist in Austin, Texas, and he is a clear aligner authority. And he's going to share a wonderful tip with you in this top clinical tip about how to expand the universe of patients that can benefit from clear aligners. You know, a lot of times, a lot of the public thinks that clear aligners are just about aesthetics, just about appearance. But actually, the benefits of clear aligners goes far beyond aesthetics. Of course, aesthetics is a benefit of clear aligners, but there's many other benefits as well. Well, but by the way, Avi Patel has created a wonderful resource for you called the Clear Aligner Blueprint. Clear Aligner Blueprint. Well, with no further ado, here's Dr. Avi Patel with great clear aligner tips for you today. Thanks so much.
Hi, it's Dr. Avi. I am a dentist in Austin, Texas, and I created Clear Aligner Blueprint, which is an online clear aligner training program, and I have a tip for aligners with you today. So, one of the biggest things and the misconceptions about aligners is that it is only for cosmetics. And I think this is a narrative that, unfortunately, just due to mass marketing by Invisalign when they first came on the market, kind of really distorted the perception of what aligners truly do and what they are. So I think, being a dentist, I graduated in 2018. When aligners or when Invisalign first came out, I think I was in like middle school or high school. And, as someone who's part of the general public, not yet a dentist, I perceived Invisalign as this cosmetic treatment and in a way to have a beautiful smile. And now that is part of it. I don't think that's, everything. And I think there's more important things that aligners can do for patients. And so now that I am a dentist and I do a lot of aligner cases for my patients, and I also train other dentists how to do it, I've found that if you shift the conversation from cosmetics and aesthetics to aligners are a tool to help improve your oral health and are a good way to essentially prevent a lot of issues while also correcting very real issues like misalignment, malocclusion, perio problems, this tends to resonate with more patients. There's more value, and overall you're able to help more people. And so it's a little bit of a mindset shift. And the other thing is, like, you also may not feel as though you're doing much. Like, it may seem like small movements if you're taking on simple cases, but you're wrong, because the lasting effects of getting somebody into aligners for, let's say, 6 to 8 months to correct some, mild to moderate crowding in the anterior, this person is not walking out with just straighter teeth, right? They get straighter teeth, but they also build habits that dentists for ages have been working so hard to try to do, which are brushing and flossing, correct? So when a patient goes through aligners, you have to think about the transformation that they're going under. You're asking them to wear plastic trays on their teeth for 22 hours a day, and you're asking them to brush and floss whenever they put the trays back in, right? They take them out when they have to eat, and then you're telling them to brush and floss before they put them back in. And then you're telling them to do this for like 6 to 8 months. So over time, like a human being, I look at aligners as like an accountability partner. So with that being said, a lot of my patients who comply, they get the results, but they come out on the other end with just a better oral health regimen. They went from brushing and flossing 4 to 5 times a day to, when they're done with treatment, we're just asking them to brush twice and floss once. It's a walk in the park. And it solves this generational problem of people just not flossing. And the hygienists that are out there that are listening, the dentists that are out there that are listening, it's like, you got to look at aligners as this all-encompassing tool that really helps move patients towards better oral health. And when you look at it like that, everything kind of clicks, and it seems like it's been the missing puzzle for general dentists to really be able to elevate the standard of care that they offer to their patients. And so if you have any questions about this stuff, definitely don't hesitate to reach out. My handle is dr.avi on Instagram. I also have a YouTube channel where I share a lot of aligner tips and advice for dentists. And I also have a free clear aligner training program that you can find online. My website is www.clearalineradvisor.co. I hope you enjoyed this tip. Have a great day.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Thriving in Dentist Coaching and Action segment. Hope you enjoyed that tip, the aligner tip from Dr. Avi Patel. Thank you, Dr. Patel, for that wonderful tip. The topic today is 6 biggest dental practice website mistakes. As you know, I am Naren, and I'm the founder of Equa Marketing. And this is a topic that I get excited about. So I'm really excited to talk about this with Gary today. So Gary, take it away. What are the 6 biggest dental practice website mistakes? You work very closely with our clients, your clients. You listen to them. Of course, you have done a lot of courses on this topic. So let's just jump right in.
Yeah, Naren, I think every one of our listeners knows that the hub of all of your marketing today is your website.
Yes.
That's the hub. I think you'd have to be living in a cave to realize that the website is not the hub of all your marketing. However, I think a common perception or common behavior that many dentists exhibit when it comes to their website is they kind of set it and forget it. They set it and forget it. Meaning that they likely work with a marketing agency or a website design agency or some kind of website design resources that designs a website, and then they have their website, and that's it. That's it. It just stays there. However, you and I know that if you have a static website, you will not be currying favor with Google. Google does not like static websites. So a good way to start our discussion about websites today is, number one, your website needs to be dynamic. It needs to be dynamic. It needs to be evolving, and you need to be adding new content. If your interest is to get on page 1 of a Google search when a patient in your community is searching for a dentist, and that, by the way, that should be your goal. What should be the number one goal of your website?
To get you on page one of Google, right? If you are not on
Get you on
page one
page
of
one.
Google, you are not going to, it's like have this wonderful store that nobody can see, nobody can find. It's like hidden somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
Well, and the sad reality is that the majority of dental websites are actually very good websites that nobody ever sees. And as a result of that, you're not getting the desirable results with your website. So let me list these 6 biggest dental practice website mistakes. I'll number them 1 through 6, and then I'll talk about each one. Actually, I'll just one at a time. I'll number it and then talk a little bit about it. And then we'll go on. And by the time we finish this coaching in action segment, we'll cover all 6 mistakes. And then I'll recap at the end. So number 1 is that your website has duplicate content. Duplicate content. Naren, what's your definition of duplicate content?
Yeah, the definition according to Google for duplicate content is if you have more than 5% of the words on the website that are copied, meaning the same sentence, the same paragraph is same between your website and any other website on the planet, that's considered duplicate content.
And that would be 5% of any given page on your website.
Correct. So this is done page by page by page. So let's say a page has 400 words. So 5% is 20 words. So you cannot have 20 words. So that's like 2 sentences.
Well, could Google be any more strict about that?
I guess, yeah, they're pushing.
Those are tough standards.
Really tough standards. Yes.
Yeah, I would have thought maybe, if a quarter of the words on your page, 25% are duplicate, that's no good. No, they're saying 5%. Now, Naren, yes. Duplicate content can happen any number of different ways. But what are the 2 most common reasons that duplicate content exists?
Yeah, the number one reason that it exists is, to build a website the way Google wants, including without duplicate content, it takes a lot of effort. Most practice owners don't have the time to, spend 30, 40, 50 hours writing page after page. So they rely on the marketing companies. And what the marketing companies mostly do is they give you, custom content, which is they take a template and they'll add your business name. They'll add your practice name. That's what they call custom content. What they don't tell you is that content will blacklist you with Google. So you have this beautiful page you love because it's the perfect everything. But because of this duplicate content technical issue, you're not going to rank. You're going to be put in what's called the Google jail, which means you have this beautiful website that nobody can find.
And yet you're, as the consumer of that website design, you feel like you've got a custom website because all of it's been branded to your name and such. But in the Google's eyes, it's duplicate content because the content of the pages are literally just recycled.
Absolutely. And they go back to
what's the second most common reason of duplicate content?
Yeah, the second most common reason is like it happens with your website, Gary. You are ranking for 780 plus keywords and phrases. You're seen by more than 100,000 people. You're getting more than 120 to 130 new patient calls. Of course, that number keeps growing, 120 to 130 new patient calls a month. And the reason for that is you're ranking so well. So somebody, your competitor, right, in Phoenix, there are 1,400 dentists. So any one of those 1,400 dentists could go to the internet and start Googling things just to see what's going on. And they keep seeing you again and again. Unfortunately, some of these people think by copying your content, they will have what you have.
So they copy it, paste it onto their website.
Right.
And then Google, as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, Naren, but Google punishes the person who stole your content.
Yes.
But also the person that the content got stolen from.
Yes, that is unfortunate. But yes, Google ends up punishing a lot of times both parties. And when that happens.
Why is that? So that happens to the website for me.
Right.
But explain why that's a non-issue for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's a non-issue because we have a team of people who are looking for this. So we use a tool called Copyscape. So we are constantly going back to Gary's Life Smiles Dental Care website and seeing if anybody's copying us. If they do, we rewrite that page. We rewrite that section. A lot of times it's like a paragraph they have lifted, or they have lifted like, sometimes an entire page because they realize, for example, 6 months smiles, you are crushing it. So they copy the page. They think they'll have the same thing. They don't. So we just go and rewrite it. It's just not worth, because we could also send a legal letter and all that stuff, but it just takes too much money and time. So we don't go that route.
Well, and really, you just correct the problem, which is giving me unique content again.
Exactly.
Yeah. So number one, these are the 6 biggest dental mistakes, dental practice website mistakes. Number one is you have duplicate content. By the way, if any of our listeners would like to discover if you have duplicate content on your own site, there is an app. It's a third-party app. It's called Copyscape. You can run any of your pages through Copyscape. And Copyscape will tell you whether it's duplicate or not, and they'll highlight all of the passages that are duplicate content. An easier way to do that is you could also schedule a marketing strategy meeting with Equa. That's something you've made available to any of our listeners, Naren, at no cost. And Lila Stone, the person that conducts that marketing strategy meeting, will take your pages and run them through Copyscape and tell you whether you have duplicate content or not. So there's the shortcut way to do it. If you want to do it that way, just go to www.equa.com, EKWA.com/MSM, and that stands for Marketing Strategy Meeting. The second mistake, number 2, is your website is static. You've set it and forgot it. Nothing's added. Now, many websites are static. And you're going to fail long-term with Google because Google gives you added benefits, added points if you have dynamic content on your website. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, Gary, I can't spend all my time writing new content. What is an easy way for me to make my website dynamic? An easy way to do it is to add a tab on your website that is, here's what our patients are saying. And then post reviews, post Facebook reviews, post Google reviews, Angie's List reviews, or Health Grades reviews, or Yelp reviews. Just post those as they come in on an added page, on a page of your website with new reviews. So that if you post it 3 or 4 times a week with your new reviews, then you're constantly showing Google that you've got dynamic content. Naren, would you agree that that's a good way to change a website from static to dynamic?
Absolutely, Gary. I mean, this is a mindset shift. A lot of people, at least in the old days, used to think I spend some time, build a website, and then I do nothing. What we find is if that's your mindset, you are going to get killed. I mean, you're going to be in the group that gets no traffic from Google. So if you don't want to be in that group and you want to get more and more traffic from Google, the way we look at it is you have to invest time. So we put minimum 30 hours, in marketing, and a lot of that hours, like you said, is on improving the website. So it could be adding a new page. It could be Google Lighthouse standards have changed. This is one of those things that Google looks at on a page-by-page basis, and you have to go and update the page to meet the new standards. It could be one of the algorithms called Google Eat. Like, are you applying Google's latest guidelines with regards to Google Eat? So you have to keep working on it, both to keep up with Google's algorithm changes, also to keep things fresh content, which is context, videos, graphics, all of that stuff.
Yeah. All right. Number 3 on the 6 biggest dental practice website mistakes, and this is very fundamental, not ranking on Google for keywords and key phrases. Not ranking on Google for keywords and key phrases. The way most of the public does search is they type in a phrase or a word, and they might type in something like dentist near me, or they might type in cosmetic dentistry Denver. And so if you're not ranking on those keywords, and ranking means getting on page 1. Let's talk about what it means to get on page 1. It typically means that organic, and I'm saying organic here because organic means you're not paying for it. The easy way to get on page 1 is to buy a bunch of ads.
Yes.
By Google AdWords or by Google pay-per-click. Anybody can do that. However, I would politely suggest that most dentists don't have a big enough budget to make that work for them because it's very expensive. And it's also, it's got 20% of the effectiveness compared to organic listing, where you're ranked organically on page 1. You're not paying for it, but people find you organically because you've earned that ranking with Google. Has 5 times the value. And I'll let you explain that, Naren, when we get into the Q&A segment. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But you want to be ranking for keywords and key phrases that represent the type of dentistry you'd like to do, the kind of patients you'd like to get. And that has to be, the practice has to decide, on your own. You have to decide what kind of patients you want. Do you want more general dentistry patients? Do you want more high value patients? Are you looking for a certain type of interest on patients' behalf? And we can start to now attract the right kind of people you want in your practice through keywords and key phrases. Just to kind of give you an idea about how good you can get at this, last month, during the month of May, we were ranked, or Life Smiles was ranked for 874 keywords and key phrases on page 1. When someone in Phoenix was looking for a dentist, we were ranked for 874 keywords and key phrases. Now, you're not going to get there overnight, but with the right support, in our case, it's Equa, with the right support, it shows how you can really dominate keywords and key phrases. All right, number 4, not getting in the Google Maps section, the Google Maps section. If you look at the anatomy of a search page, at the very top will be the ads and the sponsored links. There'll typically be 3 or 4 ads for dentists on the top of the page. Below that will be the Google Maps section, and they'll list 3 practices in the map section. And then below that are 10 practices listed organically in terms of organic search. Naren, did I describe the anatomy of a search page accurately?
You did, Gary. You did.
Got the ads at the top, followed by the maps, followed by the organic listings.
Now,
the maps are important because a lot of people they'll immediately be drawn to the visual of the map, and they'll often pick the practice that they're going to contact, one of those 3 that are in the map section. Is that an accurate description of consumer behavior?
Yes, you are correct. Only one tweak I would make, Gary, is depending on the type of search, sometimes the maps will not show up. Like, for example, Google knows if the intention of the person is to look for something local versus like learn about something. So like, let's say if you're asking a generic question about veneers, Google is thinking you are trying to learn, still it'll show you local results, meaning dentists in the local area, but it may not show you the map. As opposed to when you type in, veneers near me, Google absolutely knows without an inch of a doubt that you are looking for somebody near me, and it'll immediately show the maps.
Or if you type in cosmetic dentistry Phoenix.
Yes, exactly. You're typing in location. That. Exactly.
And a lot of times people will they'll type in a zip code.
Right.
They'll type in Invisalign 85028.
Right.
Zip code.
And also Google knows like a mobile user who's on the move and he's looking for something. He's looking for something close by, right? So then definitely the maps is going to be showing up almost all.
Especially if they have the location indicator on.
Yeah, like if I'm at home, it may not show up, but if I'm like on the move, Google knows that I'm looking for somebody like around me at that moment.
Yeah. We're going to talk in the Q&A section about the best way to make sure you get in Google Maps. But we wanted to at least now, put it on the radar that a mistake that dentists make is they haven't figured out how to get in the map section. Very important.
I have to agree with you. This can be huge. Like for your practice, you literally get hundreds of people every single month calling your office and driving to your office, meaning looking up driving directions just from Google Maps. So Google Maps is like as big or 40% of SEO. I mean, it's a huge number of new patients you're getting from Google Maps.
Yeah. It really is. It really is important. And if you're not in Maps, you're shooting yourself in the foot.
Yes.
And I want to say there's an easy way to get in Maps, but I'll use easy with discretion. You have to work at it, but there's a way to get in Maps for sure. Number 5 of the 6 biggest dental practice website mistakes: not giving compelling reasons for someone to choose your practice in 90 seconds or less. Now, Nair, why did I define it by 90 seconds?
Because you alluded to this when you talked about, Google Ads, for example, versus Google SEO. And you said the average person from Google SEO is worth 5 times more. And so you're referring to a specific stat, Gary, that is the average person who comes from SEO, meaning they typed in a specific keyword, they saw you without clicking on an ad, meaning organically, and they clicked on that organic link, they will spend 90 seconds. Versus the average person who comes from Google Ads will only spend 15 seconds, right? So assuming you're already dominating Google SEO, that's why I think you're recommending that we need to master the art of convincing someone in 90 seconds or less to pick up the phone and call. It could be.
I wanted our podcast listeners to understand this, because I think that I will raise my hand and say, I have been guilty in the past of assuming that the website is so darn interesting that anybody visiting the website is going to spend a significant amount of time learning all about dentistry and learning all about our practice. But I'm going to say that thought is absolutely delusional as shown by the data.
Yes. I mean, I guess that's why they call it the information superhighway. People on the internet are like in a hurry. I don't know why, but that's just the way they are. So it's about how quickly am I getting to a yes or a no.
So if you're using ads, you have 15 seconds.
Exactly.
That's why we're not suggesting using ads.
Exactly.
However, if you're using organic, which is what we're really sort of hopefully influencing you on, then you've got 90 seconds. So not giving a compelling reason to choose your practice in 90 seconds or less. Let me give you a quick tip on this one. Naren, I'll start a phrase and I'll ask you to complete it. Okay. A picture is worth
1,000 words.
1,000 words. So one of the ways that you can enhance communicating in less than 90 seconds is have lots of photos, lots of before and after photos, lots of videos. And there's other ways, we'll talk about those in the Q&A segment, about ways that you can truly influence someone in 90 seconds or less.
Yeah, the only tip I would add on pictures is you can have just the full face pictures or just the teeth pictures. I would strongly recommend going for the full face, because especially for high value services, it shows the change you made in that person's life. Because I can totally see myself in that after picture, if assuming I have a similar, challenge or need.
Now, remember that if we're going to show full face, we need to have a release. The patient has to sign a release form allowing you to use their photos for educational and marketing reasons.
Yes.
Don't step in the mud with that one, because that can lead to serious consequences. So have your patient sign a release that allows you to use the photo for marketing or educational reasons. Very, very important. And finally, mistake number 6 is failing to focus on Google reviews. Google reviews. Google reviews are a big deal. Would you agree, Naren?
It is a huge deal, Gary. And I think I have to thank you for this, because because I know it was a big deal, but I didn't know how to help clients get Google reviews consistently. And since you and I started working together 5 years ago, you came up with a process and you really helped hundreds of practices to really master, dominating Google reviews.
The whole concept of Google reviews just fascinates me, Naren. I mean, it fascinates me, and yet it mystifies me as well. Think about it for a minute. Let's say, well, we just returned. We just returned from a wonderful holiday. My wife and I visited Greece for the first time. And we were often typing in restaurant reviews for restaurants that were near us.
Right.
Now, here's the part that it baffles me and mystifies me at the same time. We put value in those reviews.
Yes.
But you have no idea who wrote them. that person could have the culinary taste of nothing, but they write a review and you value it. And I will say that I'll raise my hand and say, I read those reviews and I put value in them. Isn't it interesting to note that?
I know it's actually scary if you think about it, like the way after you say it, the way you said it, but it is true. We trust those reviews sometimes more than people we personally know. It's just something about, having a public or a group of people saying something about a product or service.
It's like crowdsourcing.
Weight. Yeah,
it's like crowdsourcing. But there was one restaurant that we looked at, and we had asked around, and someone said, hey, I've heard some good things about this one. And they had like 5 reviews, and we immediately said, next.
Yeah, I don't want to be the guinea pig. Yeah.
Next. And it may have been a very good restaurant, but we didn't get to find out because it didn't have any reviews. So you may have a very good dental office for people to choose. Yours should be the one that they choose, but you don't have very many Google reviews, and someone might just pass and just go to the next office because of the fact that you haven't been crowdsourced.
Yes.
Yeah. And while reviews everywhere are useful, the 5,000-pound gorilla in reviews is Google reviews.
Google.
Is Google reviews. It's useful to have Yelp reviews and Angie's reviews and Health Grade reviews and Facebook reviews. But really, where you want to focus on is you want to focus on Google reviews.
Yeah, it's because.
All right, let me recap the 6 biggest mistakes dental practice websites mistakes. Number 1, you have duplicate content. Number 2, you have a static website, not dynamic. Number 3, you're not ranking on Google for keywords and key phrases. Number 4, you're not getting in the Google Maps section. You are completely eliminated. You're not ever showing up in Maps. Number 5, you're not giving a potential patient a compelling reason to choose your practice in 90 seconds or less. And number 6, you're failing to focus on Google reviews. Naren, let's hit pause on the coaching in action segment and move to the Q&A segment, and we'll fill in some of the missing pieces here to help you get your website performing at its optimum potential. Well, welcome back to the Thriving Dentist Q&A segment. We're going to do this Q&A a little bit differently. Naren and I are going to switch roles, and I'm going to ask him questions, although one of them I'm going to field myself. But I'm going to ask Naren because Naren has a massive experience base in website design and website functionality. So Naren's all right if I ask you the questions?
Absolutely, Gary. I would love to.
All right. Question number 1. Why do 95% of dental practice websites get no organic, meaning free, traffic from Google? Why is that?
That's a great question. You are 100% correct. 95% of dental websites, and not just dental websites, but businesses in general, get no organic traffic, meaning free traffic from Google. And the reason for that is economics. It's the business model of Google, right? We use Google to find the organic results. We use it 8.5 billion times a day. However, Google does not make a cent from all the free traffic it sends to those organic websites. How do they make money? They make money through Google Ads. So when Google started in one of their early years, this is almost 20 years ago, in year 1, they made $70 million. Today, they make $224 billion.
Billion with a B.
Billion with a B, $224 billion. Just to put this in.
And almost all of that comes from ads. I wouldn't say it's 100%, but
no. This is 100%, Gary. This is 100%. I'm not even talking about all the other money Google makes.
Oh, that's just ads.
Just ads. Just ads is $224 billion, Google Ads. So it's massive. It's like literally 150 countries make less money than Google Ads makes for Google every year. It's crazy. It's just, that's how big it is.
So the whole game is set up to get you to buy ads.
Exactly. So the world population hasn't grown 100 times in the last 20 years. World population is like, growing very slowly. So how does Google make all this extra money? 2 ways. One is make SEO harder and harder. Today, 5% of the practices get all the free traffic. Therefore, the 95% have to pay, $224 billion to get the paid traffic.
So the lazy way to get on page 1 is just to throw a bunch of money at Google.
Exactly. But
the problem is that in dental, most practices don't have enough of a budget for that. We've been talking about tens of thousands of dollars a month in ads.
Exactly.
And that really isn't in the realm of possibility for most dental practices.
Yes. I mean, these are small businesses. So putting that kind of money doesn't make economic sense. They might do it for a few months, but then they just realize it's just unsustainable.
So the simple answer, why do 95% of dental practice websites get no organic, meaning free traffic, is because Google doesn't want to provide that for you. That's the simple answer. Now you give me a bridge to the second question. So how do I get in the 5% to get all the organic traffic?
Great question. So the way to get into the 5% is think of like getting into the top dental school. You need to excel in 4 or 5 or 6 things like your GPA, your entrance exam, the interview, the recommendations, your experience while you were in your undergrad. All those things make a difference, right? And if you are acing all those things that that particular university is looking at, there's a good chance you will get in. Same thing here. Google looks at 6 buckets. And of course, there are 200 factors, but we are going to, for our purposes, put them into 6 buckets. If you ace these 6 buckets, then you will be in the 5%.
So it's very analytical and objective, because everything, think about how quickly, when you type in a search, how quickly does Google provide results for you? Nanosecond.
Exactly.
Boom. So these buckets are a way for Google to analytically provide the best match for what someone's looking for.
100%. So
what are those 6?
Yeah, the first one is NAP, name, address, phone number, consistency. Let me just name them and then I'll talk about a couple of them. Second one is Google Lighthouse Score. That's page by page. Google is looking at how well you are doing in 5 different categories. And it gives you a score of 0 to 100. If you are closer to 100 in each one of those 5, then Google considers you doing well in Lighthouse. The trick with Lighthouse is the algorithm changes minimum once a month, but many times once a week. So every time it changes, your score might drop. So you have to go back and fix. Google will tell you what to fix. You just have to spend the time, have a webmaster to go and fix those issues. Next is Google Eat. It applies to specific kinds of website. Healthcare is one of them. E stands for expertise, A for authority, and T for trust. And the quick answer is Google is remember, it's AI, artificial intelligence, and computers all working together. So you have to please the AI machinery to see you as an expert. You can include a bio. See you as an authority. You can include relevant videos. Again, all this has to be done in a very specific way. And finally, see you as trustworthy. That means you have to include reviews from Google on the relevant pages. Again, we'll put a link if you want to learn more about this. This is your favorite, Gary, original content. Original content meaning, we'll put a link to the a podcast that Gary and I did not too long ago on the Less Insurance Dependent show about original content and why it's important. Perhaps, you can listen to it. But the idea is that if you copy any information, even if it's a couple of sentences, you're going to get penalized. Don't do it. So make sure you have 400 words. It's all original. Backlinks, it's technical. I'm not going to get into it. And last but not least, 5-star Google reviews. Before I wrap up on this, I'm going to talk about NAP. NAP is very, 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 very important. You will have your business name, address, and phone number in hundreds of directories. Example, Yellow Pages, Yelp, Google My Business, Facebook, etc. All of these sites are run by different companies and they don't talk to each other nor to you. So they will have different variations of your name, address, and phone number. Anytime there's a slight variation, even a comma or a space or even a dot, that will throw Google off and you're going to get penalized for not having consistent NAP. The other benefit of the NAP sites is that they act as pop-up stores. Imagine buying an Apple product from an Apple store or from a kiosk inside a Best Buy or any other store. So these 100 or 50 different NAP sites will start driving you traffic and phone calls. So those are the 6 things, Gary, that you need to pay attention to if you want to get into the top 5%. Again,
perfect.
Just keep focusing on it, keep working on it week after week, month after month. As Google changes its algorithm, just stick with it.
Let's switch roles for this next question. You asked me.
100%. We used to be really good at getting Google reviews, but we seem to have fallen off lately. How can I get back on the Google review bandwagon? I love this question.
I love that question. And Doctor, let me give you some consolation. That has happened to probably every one of our listeners at one time or another, including myself, where it seems like we were doing really well. And then we got distracted by the shiny object syndrome and Google reviews became a distant memory. Well, I'm going to give you a 5-step system. This is the system that we teach our clients. I'm going to give you a 5-step system to master Google reviews. Naren, while I'm given this 5-step system, would you do me a favor and look up as of the very moment how many current Google reviews LifeSmiles has? And then I'll ask you to share that number when I finish this system. All right. So here's the 5-step system. Step 1. Someone from your office prints out the email addresses of everybody on your schedule today, whether it be a hygiene appointment or a doctor appointment. You have the email list of everyone on your schedule. Step 2, once you have that list, you highlight every patient on your schedule today that has a Gmail address, because the patient has to have a Gmail address in order to write a Google review. Now, they could go get a Gmail address and write your review, but that's just too much of an ask. You're asking them to jump over too big of a hoop. So step 3 is once we have the highlighted names of everybody that has a Gmail address, we then look at those names very intentionally, and we decide as a group, you and your team members, who do we flat out know would write a 5-star review on the practice? Who do we flat out know? Let's say there's 6 names that have Gmail addresses, and we know that 4 of them, beyond a shadow of a doubt, would write us a 5-star review. Step 4 is we look at those 4 names, continuing with my example, and we decide who's going to ask each patient. We don't want everybody asking them, but we also don't want to have someone slip through the cracks and have nobody ask. So that usually comes up organically. A hygienist might say, oh, I know Gary. He lives in my neighborhood. I'll ask Gary. Or maybe an administrative team member says, oh, Susan and I are good friends. I'll ask Susan. And step 5 is we print out a very simple, it's about a 5x8 card that has instructions on how to write a Google review. And here's how we ask. So let's say I'm the hygienist and I decided I'm going to ask Naren. Say, Naren, I sure appreciate seeing you on my schedule. You are right on time for your hygiene schedule. We like to see every 6 months, and you are right on schedule. I wish all of our patients were as faithful as you are. Naren, we also love seeing new patients in our practice. Would you do me a favor and write a Google review about our practice when you get a chance? Hey, I went ahead and took the liberty of writing a little cheat sheet for you with instructions on how to write a Google review, and I hand them the cheat sheet. There's the 5-step process. Now, Naren, how has that worked for LifeSmiles? How many reviews do we have as of this very moment?
At this very moment, this may change in a few hours.
This is as of right now.
As of right now. I bet
at the time we're recording.
Exactly. By the time we publish, this number is going to be different. It's 1,074.
1,074. Average rating?
5 stars.
5 stars. Well, I hope that provides some motivation. That's how we got 1,074 reviews, all of them 5 stars. Now, I'd like to think that the reason we have 5 stars is we truly do provide 5-star experience with our patients. But also, we're kind of setting ourselves up for success there, Naren, because I'm only asking people that we know would write 5 stars.
Exactly.
So there you go. Naren, I'll go back to my role as the questioner, and you'll answer this one if you would. Naren, can you provide some examples that can quickly convince patients we are the right office for them?
Absolutely, Gary. Going back to what you were saying earlier, if the person comes through search engine optimization, we have 90 seconds. And if they come through Google Ads, you have 15 seconds. So if you are an ad-driven practice, then repeat this question and ask yourself, can somebody be convinced in 15 seconds to choose your office? If the answer is no, then don't spend money on ads. But let's say you are an SEO practice, you are crushing it on SEO, and you have 90 seconds. I'll give you some tips. Let's say if it's a general patient, like for example, cleanings, day-to-day dentistry, work on your About the Doctor page. And the About the Doctor page is going to be the page where you can humanize yourself, right? Dr. Robert Cialdini, he's a famous psychologist on influence. He said, we do business with those we like. Very true. So when they see a picture perhaps of you and your young family, assuming you have a family, then they're going to say, I have a family. Remember, most people on your website are moms. So they're going to say, I have a family, and this particular doctor has a family. Therefore, he's someone I should be able to relate to. Therefore, I feel comfortable and I'm going to pick up the phone and call.
Now, for the benefit of our listeners who say perhaps don't have a family,
yes,
you can still use the same concept. Like, for example, let's say you happen to enjoy cooking. Have a photo taken with your cooking apron on in the kitchen. And again, that's something that people will see you as relatable. Take a photo of you walking your dog,
yes,
riding your bike, just things that you enjoy doing. And that makes you more relatable, more humanistic, and more approachable.
100%.
All right, keep building on this, Naren. What are some other things our listeners can do?
Yes. And many of the clients we work with over time, they start developing a very strong high value component of their practice. So that means they might be attracting veneer patients or Invisalign patients. And the way to do that is, remember, the person who's interested in veneers or Invisalign is only interested in knowing that you are really, really good at Invisalign, for example, because they Googled Invisalign, you show up, their question is in 90 seconds, are you the person I should go and see? How do you do that? So have before and after pictures, like I alluded to in the coaching and action segment. If possible, get full face pictures because that show the transformation. Like, this person now looks totally different, and therefore the return on investment is worth it.
You can often see the transformation in the patient's eyes.
Yes. Yes.
Oftentimes
Smile.
the before photo, the eyes are kind of flat and dull. And then you look at the after photo and they're just popping. They're sparkling because they're so happy about how they look.
Exactly. We'll put a link of a after picture so you kind of understand what we're talking about. And the other thing you can do is you can also position yourself as an expert. And the reason that is important is we all want the best. And when they see you are an expert, again, they are more likely to trust you, pick up the phone and call. So use videos. So we have a platform called Video 360, and we publish videos created by our doctors on that platform. And then we will say, as seen on Video 360. So when they see that, they're like, wow, this person is not only doing quality work, but he or she is also seen as an expert. And the last tip I have for you, Gary, is, doctor reviews. So we created a tool to help doctors. It's free. It's called Doctor's Choice Awards. Use that tool to get reviews from your colleagues, fellow dentists, other doctors who are your patients, or even dentists you meet at conferences or people you went to school with, and get them to say something about you. Of course, they're going to say, be positive, then grab those reviews and then make it into a ticker that runs across your homepage. And the reason this is important is because put yourself in the consumer's shoes, right? They're on your website and they see these doctor reviews keep popping up. What are they going to think? If doctors trust you, you must be really good. Because remember, doctors are insiders. So insiders know something that the average person, Mr. Joe, doesn't know. So it's very, very powerful. Now, I know you might be thinking this is really confusing. It's a lot of details. If you are one of those people, then book a marketing strategy meeting. We will do 6 hours of research and tell you where you stand and give you a very custom plan. It's no cost, ekwa.com/MSM.
Well, thank you, Naren. And as we come to the finish line here, some thank yous are in order. Naren, thank you for co-hosting this podcast with me. Also, thanks for all the great work you and your team does, not only for Life Smiles, but for dental practices all over, helping dentists master the world of dental marketing in 2023 and beyond. Also want to thank all of our listeners. We appreciate each and every one of you. If you haven't done so already, I have a request. I would encourage you to click the subscribe button on wherever you get the Thriving Dentist Show. Just click subscribe. That means every Wednesday when we upload a new episode, it'll be automatically uploaded for your listening convenience. On that note, let me simply thank you for the privilege of your time today. I hope you've learned some things about how to avoid the 6 biggest dental practice website mistakes. Hey, Naren and I look forward to connecting with you on the next Thriving Dentist Show.